Waarom speelt hij dan niet? Oh ja.
Welcome to another episode of Innovation Network Newsletter. With your host Patrick and Aragorn, philosophers and analyze the relationship between men.
Mooie fade-out.
Oh,
Hoppatee.
So, good morning, man. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing it in English. This.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm great.
So hopefully everybody can
good.
follow along, but a lot of people on our team are speaking English, so we're switching to English here. So let's see how that goes.
Yep. So
And let's see how the auto translate to Dutch works on Riverside. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. So, what are the topics for this week? Are we going to cover the GameStop 200 million drop by Roaring Kitty? Oh, wait, maybe that's for a different podcast.
If you want to dive into that, let's do that. Now, first on the list in my overview here is the Spacetop AR laptop. Did you see that one?
I did, yes. Many people sent it to me. At least 3 of my friends sent me an Instagram message saying, "Oh, did you order it yet?" And the funny thing is that I actually saw the demo of this laptop already several months ago, because I think it was actually launched at the start of the year. It says it was already showcased. And yeah, I think it's very cool.
It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept.
It's a cool idea. Yeah. I think it gives us an idea of where things are headed. But I think there are some reasons why it will not work. But what do you think?
These kind of things we have to test ourselves, right? This year earlier we had the Quest 3, the Vision Pro. We tested it. You have to kind of work hours in it to see if it actually is as fresh as you see on this marketing video. The cable on there shouldn't be a problem because you're always connected to the keyboard. Yeah, and this of course is a cool use case that you can just do it in an airplane or in public transport and all these kind of things. Those are handy. The glasses themselves, I don't know, look a little bit uncomfortable, far from your eyes away. But when is it on the market? Do you know?
I think it's going to be available. I think it's going to be available this year, pretty soon.
Yeah, and
I think that's the plan.
2,000, something like that. I thought I saw something like that.
Really? Oh, well, that's a lot of money for a laptop. Yeah. Especially if it doesn't have a screen.
But it comes with glasses. Yeah.
No, I think. Look. You know what I really feel when I see stuff like this? Just a little bit of sadness. Because what's going to happen is that we're going to see this product come out and it's going to get horrible reviews.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is one. For example, the video clip of working in a plane. Well, I've tried to do that a lot recently. I've been on several planes for doing keynotes. I tried to work on the plane. And what you see with the laptop screen and the chair, that happens. But it's worse than that, because unless you're in business class or you get extra space, it's almost impossible to work in a plane at all, because the laptop is so close to you, because they make the planes in economy class so small that it's almost impossible to have a comfortable position where you can actually type on it. So even without the screen, it's not going to be great. I tried to work in the plane with my Meta Quest 3, but the travel mode wasn't available at the time. But this is something I could see it working for, because when I finally got the Meta Quest 3 working in the plane, I watched Napoleon on the plane, and that was great, because the whole flight I felt like I was in an IMAX theater. It wasn't completely comfortable at the time because the headset didn't balance right. And then when I did get the right balance with the headset, although this is not about the Meta Quest 3, but now I get the balanced headset with the battery on the back. The problem is that then the battery sticks into the chair. So then you got to sit a little forward. So that just tells us that these glasses, VR, etc., are just really not where they are yet. And if you see these glasses that she's wearing, you see several times you mentioned it, they're just not sunglasses yet, right? They're still a little further from your face. They're kind of a big thing on your head. They don't look very cool. They're not going to be very comfortable to wear for a long time, I'm sure.
And the moment that you're kind of done with the glasses and you want to put them off, look at a real screen, right? And you can't because you always have to put them on. That's going to be a burden. Can you then easily switch to a screen? Can you plug in a screen? I don't know. That's
How many times have we worked together where you open your laptop or me and you're like, oh, let me show you this, or let me show you this? You can't do that with this thing,
No,
right? You can't work with somebody else and show them what you're doing. So this is going to be very much a solo working device that where you can't share whatever it is that you're looking at. And it's for this reason that I believe that ultimately, once we finally do move to this kind of thing, first, it will be laptops that will support glasses, but will still have a screen.
Exactly.
In case you want to work with somebody else. And second, once we do move over, it's only going to be when these kind of glasses are interoperable, where basically you can bring your glasses. And when I say to you, Patrick, I want to show you something, you kind of hold your glasses near my laptop for NFC connection or something,
exactly.
instantly
and
connects,
well. Yeah.
and we're both looking at the same screen. And without that kind of tech, this is just not really going to take off, I think. And so I think it's early days. It's cool to see. I'm interested in trying it out because another thing I wonder is the viewing angle. I'm pretty sure that these things will have a very narrow viewing angle, which will also be uncomfortable because you see them working on multiple screens, right? Oh, look, you can have so many screens with your laptop. But I can tell you for a fact that when you're wearing a thing like that and your field of view is 90 degrees and you have multiple screens, then rather than use your eyes, you need to start turning your head like this to see the screens, and it's also very uncomfortable. So yeah.
Okay, but it's another cool device. I will step towards Metaverse.
Yeah,
Something
it's a
else.
step
Let's switch gears to another thingy. Let me show my screen again. This is about Perplexity having a new feature
yes.
called. Let's see if we can load it in.
While you are grabbing pages, because you're going for pages, yes,
Yeah,
I'm going to quickly say something about Perplexity Discover, because I really feel that this is such an underrated part of Perplexity. And I don't know if we covered this before. Some tingling in the back of my head says we did discuss it at some point.
Yeah, we showed it last time. We did, but if you hold on a second, then I'll show you this page because that's also the structure, how they built Discovery.
Yes,
Discover pages.
exactly.
So let's make a page. Why do we make a page about? So how to get the best DJs for your event. Here we go. I'm just thinking about anything. So what it basically does is a way to create articles about any topic. It is slow.
I think it's super smart from the Perplexity team. Basically, they turned the whole you doing research with AI thing into it instantly gets formatted like an article.
Yeah.
So it just skips the whole step from doing research to generating content, and I think it's rather smart of them. Yeah.
And as always,
It always works best when you try to showcase it.
Let's see what's on here. Looks like it's hanging. Let me try it again.
99, maybe. Yeah. Did you open that as a new one? Because sometimes when I continue working on Perplexity and I don't refresh the page, this happens.
I'll just completely refresh the page. Library. What's the page about? Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it refreshes. Just based on one prompt, it automatically comes up with an artwork. And it immediately is a complete article, right? With all the sources in there.
It's interesting because the artwork even was like a map showing where the most DJs can be found. Amsterdam, Rotterdam, London. Or does it just look that way?
I think it looks that way. But once it's done, you can also easily change that.
Yeah.
Let's give it a couple of minutes that it's done.
I like that it provides all the sources and all of that.
Yeah, what people now are doing is basically give a prompt and then copy and paste all these things. And now you have it immediately at an article style. So this is also where we are heading with our newsletter, right? We kind of discuss all the things and it automatically comes curated and added with AI information. Now it's done. And now I can easily say, okay, I want to change the picture to something else. These pictures don't make sense.
None of these pictures are any good. Yeah. Here we go.
And then you book it like that. You can also drag it in a different way.
Look at it. And it man, it's great. This is really crazy, right? Let's take a moment to just appreciate this. Doing this, putting an article online with a nice image, etc. Like a few years ago, it would have still required at least an hour of work at the bare minimum, right? Yeah. You just did it in 5 minutes, 2 minutes. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then, but let's step into the shoes of the the critic right now, right? They're gonna say, well, this is AI generated crap, and then the whole internet's gonna be flooded with crap. What's your experience so far with the quality of this, Patrick?
I have made one earlier, and I have to be honest, that quality was good, but was not to my satisfaction. It doesn't have my personal taste. So it took quite some time. It still took me an hour to create a cool article that was really in my style. But I think that's a matter of feeding the system your style. I didn't do that yet, right? I didn't use any memory function, or I didn't use the collections for that. And I don't know how collections is connected with this. But once it kind of understands your way of speaking, this type of articles also become your way. And then it becomes super easy. And it's very easy to kind of have all the extra links in there. So that.
Actually, that's a good question I should pose to the Perplexity team on Discord, because I don't know in how far memory is already integrated and will be further integrated into Perplexity. Obviously, Perplexity can use GPT-O, and it mainly does for me. I don't know how you use it, but that is an interesting. I think that's important. I think, again, looking just a little bit further down the line when it comes to this kind of technology, I think I really got to keep in mind that this is the worst it's ever going to be, right? So now it's going to be rolled out. It's just like you said, all of these AIs will, within the next 6 to 12 months have some kind of memory function. They will slowly learn more about you. I saw that memory is now permanently activated on my ChatGPT everywhere I go in the Netherlands. So I think ultimately they'll become much better at indeed mimicking our personal styles. So I think the quality of this will go up significantly. So for me personally, I use the what's it called? The collections on Perplexity.
Yeah.
But for example, for writing now, I made a digital twin on a custom GPT, which I basically fed my last 6 articles, I think. And I told it, this is my kind of style, and I want you to always kind of use this style, right? And it does really well. Right? I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's doing really well. And this is only going to improve. I personally found, though, that I enjoy the writing. And the writing for me is also part of a process that's important for my own understanding. And I think this is much underestimated when people talk about the ease with which AI can generate content. I think ultimately, a lot of the content creation is not just for the audience, right? Unless you're just trying to sell stuff, and there's plenty of people trying to do that. If you're trying to generate quality content, the generation of the content often is just as much for your own sake as it is for your audience. And so you can't really replace that. But if you have something like a newsletter like we have, and you're stuck for time. So what I've been doing is I've recorded audio messages, and then I've transcribed those. You can automatically do that on a smartphone. For example, on my Samsung, we'll get to that in a bit. And then you can just feed that to an AI like this, and it can instantly generate an article for you, right? And I think that is kind of really cool.
One of the features that I would love to see here is now, if you have a great article, you want to publish it. If you publish this here, if I click on the right button here, publish, it gets published in this format on Perplexity/Discovery, and then I can publish it somewhere. I would love to see different formats that you can easily export to, for instance, to WordPress or whatever. That would be nice. But it's a nice bridge to discovery.
Yeah.
I have
What really blows me out of the water, by the way, is that LinkedIn has been integrating AI. It's been shit on every attempt, and some small startup company like Perplexity is pumping out quality stuff like this. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how LinkedIn, for example, is capable of failing so completely in that regard, even while they're part of Microsoft. I mean, even X now has Grok, and I'm not using it a lot, but I mean, it just, I'm always blown away by LinkedIn's lack of what do you call it, incompetence when it comes to staying up to date with their platform and its features.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Here you have an article on that is part of Discovery. I thought it was an interesting article to talk about as well. One of the people in the ambassadors team, Jelmer, shared a great creative economy PDF document, and Mr. Beat was all over it that this was a new way of creating content, which we already know, but he now is the most subscribed YouTuber. But if you go to Discovery, I have it now here under the button so I can show it and you can talk to it. This is just a fantastic curation of all kind of news articles that are very valuable. And whatever you click, so this is about Kling, bang, you see the structure. It's automatically created with the feature they now have made public for everybody, the pages to do that. So that's how they did it for quite a while, tested it out, and now delivering the feature to everybody within a couple of
weeks. I on my, again, we're gonna be covering this in a bit, my Samsung phone, but I still have my iPhone, but I switched back to Samsung.
Yeah, how did it go? What can you tell about it?
I'm very, very happy with it. Obviously, going from iPhone to Android always brings along some challenges. I don't know if any of you can see this. Probably not. You can't read it. But so on my new Samsung now, I have a notification from Perplexity here, which is news items from Discover. And so the one thing that I personally, but this is down to usage preferences, I guess, but the one thing that I really missed in my time using the iPhone was the ability to quickly scroll through a news feed that was tailored towards my interests. On my Android phones, as long as I can remember, I've always had this where I swipe. Oh, you can't see that. So I'll do it again. You swipe left and I'm in my Google Newsfeed. And I've been curating my Google Newsfeed for 10 years. So this shows me always the topics that I'm interested in. And on my iPhone, I couldn't do that. iPhone does not. I didn't find a single proper app or whatever on iPhone to do that. And that meant that I was actually seeing a lot less of the valuable news items for me to stay up to date over the last 2 years using iPhone.
This with one thing. So if I just go simply to Google,
yeah,
it automatically has my curated news feed.
Exactly, yeah.
At the bottom. It doesn't swipe right there, but I'm always on my browser. So then I created it like you as well. Almost always interesting news for me.
Yeah.
On iPhone.
Yeah. And now with Perplexity, I get the update every morning. I wake up and there'll be a Perplexity Discover. So the way I wake up is I look on my phone, and then I'm like, oh, what's the latest news items on Perplexity Discover? Because I'll start with the first one. I'll click it. I'll start with the first one, and then I'll just be swiping through the news articles, and they're really good. They're really good. They're really also about the stuff that I care about. Obviously, Perplexity is probably a little bit more tailored toward technology and AI, but so.
Okay, let me blow your mind. If you go to Spotify, there's a podcast called Discovery as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have somebody, just the 3 or 4 news items that they have.
Oh, yeah.
They read it out to you. So that could also be a way to consume these great articles on Perplexity Discover.
Discovery, what's it called? Discovery from Perplexity?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Perplexity AI here, the AI Globetrotter. Yeah, I found it.
Fully automated newsletter on there, and great work.
So is it called Discovery? It's called Perplexity AI for me.
It could be the same. I wasn't looking.
Yeah. And this is also great. And this is also done with AI. So, yeah, I love that. So there's that. And Yeah, I think this is gonna be better and better. And I also think that this, by the way, is already a great example of more curated. Like, I don't know if people remember this, but there was a time like 5 to 10 years ago when everybody, maybe people that were into that, were using Feedly, right, or things like that, where you would bring RSS feeds together to curate your newsfeed, and then that kind of got out of fashion. I guess, well, some people still use it, but it didn't really work as well anymore, or whatever. And now this is kind of coming back, and I'm very happy with this because this drives more towards that future that I foresee, where we will not be forced to be on all these social media all the time and be forced to consume everything that comes with that, but we will be more and more in control of the content we consume as a result of AI.
Exactly.
That brings us to control over content.
Nice bridge.
Nice
I thought you
bridge.
had something to say about this cool news show.
He did a great thing triggering me there while putting it on. So yeah, so Showrunner. Showrunner has been announced as the first AI streaming service to actually go live. And when I saw this, I was kind of blown away because I've been saying now for, this, I don't know, 10, 12 months. I don't know exactly how long, but, we're going to move to a world where Netflix will be AI real-time generated, right?
And here's the big question. Will they be disrupted by a company like Showrunner taking over large parts, or are they themselves capable of doing that? Is such a fast-growing company that's just 10 years old going to be disrupted or not? These are fascinating questions to me.
They are fascinating questions, absolutely. And in the show notes, you have Bandersnatch. So this is nice proof that Netflix already has some experience with creating interactive experiences. And I think that gives us some indication, because I've been saying for a while, Netflix should be moving on this quicker. But then again, they are moving on it. Because I don't know if you noticed that, but maybe I can share that on the screen if I can find it.
Yeah, but Bandersnatch is a while ago. They didn't do much with it. They had problems creating too much content. And in there, I don't know. So when Sora or Kling, as we just a moment ago saw, as that technology becomes more available, then there should be no limit on the content side of it, right? And
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but yes. But what I wanted to say is that Netflix is making clear moves, right? So what you see here is Netflix Stories. And they've launched this as a part of an initiative on Netflix games. And I've been talking about this not a lot, but I have mentioned it a few times over the last few months on different places when writing articles. Netflix has been investing in games. I noticed this the first time, I think about a year ago, when I suddenly saw that there was games on the Netflix app that you could play. And they didn't really push it very hard, but they've been into this. And the games have been growing increasingly sophisticated.
Yeah.
And that told me that Netflix is doing first it told me that Netflix was understanding that games was going to be a very important part of entertainment going forward in the future, and they were branching out into that. But now what they did with the latest release, Netflix Stories, it gives a very clear indication of Netflix being aware of the future of interactive, self-created, generated content that will be replacing to some extent, but at least be taking a major role in the future of content consumption in their entertainment industry. So with Stories, basically they combine aspects from a game with aspects of a television series.
There we go.
So I would never play it, but basically you get to control the storyline. You get to generate, decide what people are in the series, what their relationships are. So you get to kind of create your own reality show. Well, it's not a reality show, it's a virtual reality show technically, but you get to create it as it goes and you influence the storyline. And so what this tells me is that Netflix is actually aware of this, and they might not be using AI just yet for the rendering and the creation of it, but they already understand where things are headed. And that is a good thing for Netflix, because I have not.
Yeah, and if you look to Showrunner, by the way, what it's also providing the tools. So if we together now decide that we want to make a cartoonish drawn by AI, we could go to Showrunner, sign up, and get all the tools to create the content as well, which is also kind of going giving it back to the creator community to create it. So that's pretty nice as well.
I have one sneaky suspicion though, and I might be proven completely wrong, but I don't know. Have you looked at the branding of Showrunner?
I've looked at that video and I tried to join the alpha, but it was specifically for creators and the content. That's why I knew.
But you don't need to go that far. Just look at their colors and everything. Like they literally look like Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this sneaky suspicion that the people who are building Showrunner are not just building Showrunner to create their own. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do everything that Netflix did. They basically just want to go far enough for Netflix to say, okay, we're going to buy you guys. But I have no proof of this. But for me, the branding being so close to Netflix, it's like they're already setting it up to just be, oh, now it's Netflix Showrunners, ladies and gentlemen, or Netflix Showrunner. It's like, oh, this is a new department, and now we have this thing added to the app, and now you can generate your own series. So
it's a very smart tactic if you can do that. And there are more of these platforms. I don't have it under the button right now, but I came across a couple of these. So they all gonna compete for a deal with a company like Netflix.
I think the most incredible thing is that when we started talking about this over the last year, because we've discussed this before, my initial thoughts were that this would be 2 to 5 years out. And this is now, again, a great example of how our most optimistic expectation is just already blown out of the water with the first iteration coming out within months.
Yeah. Agree. This is going to be a complete change to the next topic, but I finally shared this over the weekend or a couple of days ago. It was just amazing, right? So back to the medical world and the pills and the genes. First tooth growing drug. Just take a pill and regrow some of your tooth that you didn't have or were not in there.
Actually, I wasn't too surprised by this. I'll be honest. If you've been kind of watching the biotech industry over the last few years, you could actually see a clear trend in a lot of research and development going towards regenerative medicine.
Yeah.
Even in the Netherlands, in Utrecht, for example, there's a company called, I think they're called Ouroboros, I'm not sure, that are focused on this. I don't know how successful they are. Last time I met the founder is already a year ago when I was still working with John, or 2 years ago already. But there's a lot going on in this area. And although AI is not specifically mentioned in this particular case, AI will have a great influence on this industry as well, because AI makes it that much easier to discover the new methods that they need. For example, like in my keynote, I say last year alone we discovered 200 million protein structures. That's all protein structures known to nature. And up until that point, we only discovered, I think, somewhere between 20 or 40,000 in all of medical history. So it's an incredible amount of work. It's like 100 years of scientists working that we did with an AI in a month. And then on top of that, now we're generating new protein structures that are unknown to nature. And that also, I find that a little scary. Like this is like 28 days later, kind of scary to me also a little bit. But the scientists, yes. So this was on 60 Minutes in the US, and it's incredible interview to watch. I love 60 Minutes for that, because the scientist who leads the research, she was like, well, people said, yeah, we can use AI to generate your new proteins to fight cancer and Alzheimer's. And she was like, well, yeah, right. I'll see about that. And then she said, well, show me the data, right? She was very skeptical. And then she says, and then they showed me the data. And yeah, it's really promising. And I find it so incredible that these super, super smart scientists, they're on the cutting edge. And time and time again, they're so skeptical about AI and what it might provide and how feasible its results are. And every time they get blown away when they get confronted with the reality of what's already possible, and this is the worst it's ever going to be. We need to keep repeating that. So then when I see this, I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised. They're also testing drugs in the US that will make your dog grow twice as old, because it will reduce their aging. And this is a clinical trial for the same medicine to be rolled out for humans in the next 5 years. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Right? So by the end of this decade, as a result of AI, we will have medication to cure Alzheimer's, to cure pretty much every form of cancer, to double the age span of humans, to probably regenerate not just our teeth, but limbs as well. And it will just continue to go from there.
Or the teeth that you want. If you want to have Dracula teeth, then probably there's some kind of code for it to get that.
Jesus. Oh my God. You'll have these, all of these
Think
emo
about it. All the
dudes will
modifications
be,
that people do, right? Tattoos of all these things that people now have different tools to kind of do that. If you can kind of reprogram that in your gene package, oh, definitely there are going to be some freaks doing that. Yeah.
oh, that's, well, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. That's gonna freaks. I like it that you
Well,
just
yeah,
said
for
freaks.
now, from this perspective now, it would
Goddamn
be a freak
hippies.
if somebody has Dracula teeth, right? But if
Yeah.
more people have it, it becomes a community or
No,
a
no.
society. Yeah.
You're totally right. Of course, people are gonna do it. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
tattooing their eyeballs, then
Well, this does bring me. I mean, let's not go into too deeply, but yeah, you know, I also have my opinions on the whole gender conversation. But something I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, is that it's not that I'm per se against transgenderism. I'm just against it in a time where doing it to young kids, for example, is a very invasive surgery that has no way to be reversed, because I think that it has the potential to create a lot of hurt and pain further down the line when people realize that maybe they didn't make the right decision.
Yeah.
But I believe in a future within the next 50 years where we get to a point where medical science will allow you to transition to a different gender fully biologically, you know, normally, and reverse. And in that situation, there's absolutely nothing that I can say that would say, like, why shouldn't you do this?
If you
And
can
so I believe that
your age, then basically we could go take a period, take it as a man, go back in time, do the same period,
Right.
and take it as a woman, and compare these kind of
Right.
things. Never before in human history could be these. There were fictional stories, these kind of things.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
and, yeah, within 50 years we can do these kind of things. It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Ian M. Banks, in his books, he writes about this, where people transition from being male to female and back for a decade or so. And I think that this is definitely something that's going to be happening in our future. And I think that might be really good because it will grow our horizons and our empathy. I just want it to be safe for everyone.
Let's hope we grow that empathy. Hey, talking about a company that is pretty on the rise and facilitating all that to the 3 million market cap. It's amazing, huh? It's going to be the number one company, the biggest company in the world.
3 trillion.
3 trillion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think, Patrick? Is it a bubble?
No, it's not a bubble. It's no. I think they have the capacity to grow even further than this, and that is predominantly in the part where they are also the complete engine at the moment behind all the bipedal and humanoid and all kind of robots that are coming there. Those are all going to be trained on AI Omniverse as well. You don't hear that too much about that system. It's the Isaac system that they have behind it. And that's going to grow even further in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
They are facilitating all the companies with the chips. I see this become even much more bigger than it already is. Yeah.
I have a few thoughts on that, though. Don't get me wrong. I think NVIDIA is the absolute market leader. I think as a company and their influence on the market, their impact on the market is going to continue to grow. However, market cap is not something that I think represents the real value and impact of the company. It simply represents our financial markets,
Right.
And how they currently work. And I have absolutely no faith in our financial markets.
No.
And I think that we are, in that respect, seeing absolute ballooning of values. Not just NVIDIA, but the same goes for Apple, and it went for Tesla for a long while as well. Maybe now a little less because they lost a lot of stock value. And I am a little worried about that, because if you have a 3 trillion market cap and that would collapse overnight because the financial system fails, that will also have a massive impact on the company, because that's within a failed system. So that's one thing. Second thing, I already saw an article saying Huawei is close to launching a chip that will be a significant competitor to NVIDIA's H100s, I think. And this is also important to think about, because Trump forced China out, because they're not allowed to buy the newest American chips from NVIDIA, which is an American company. He also forced China to become completely self-sufficient. And although this is not a geopolitical newsletter, I'd like to stress that I don't believe that was a good idea, because although also I have no faith in the US, forcing China to become completely self-reliant, build their own industry, build their own capabilities, is also forced them to become completely self-sufficient, making them that much stronger. And if Huawei really does come out, Huawei has already made a massive comeback on the smartphone market, which initially, they took a massive hit when they were forced out by the US. Now they're going to do the same with these chips. If we look at the Chinese electric car market, which is now being dominated by smartphone makers, with cars that are a third of the cost that they are in Europe or the US, and are literally top tier, then that tells me that we need to be really careful, because China is just going to fucking, I'm sorry for that word, obliterate everyone.
Very good points, and you never know what's going to happen. But I think what I really appreciate about NVIDIA is the company structure and its CEO and the culture that comes with it. The way that it's managed to change to a couple of different phases. First being just a GPU provider for the gaming community, then becoming a machine learning chip maker, and now totally down on AI. Not so many companies can make those transitions time on time. This was kind of very much connected with each other, so it's also logical. But I have let me see if I can find it. I have a post here. Let's see if I can put this on.
Let me blow your mind while you're searching for that. Did you know that Jensen Huang does not want any one-on-ones in his company?
No, well, here we go. Here we go. This is exactly the video on that. Let me see if I can put the audio on.
I'm doing this best practice. The reason is because the layer of hierarchy in your company really matters. I don't do one-on-ones, and almost everything that I say to everybody all at the same time. And the reason for that is because I don't really believe there's any information that I operate on that somehow only one or two people should hear about. These are the challenges of the company, or this is the problem I'm trying to solve, or this is the direction we're trying to go into. This isn't working, that's working well. All of this type of information, everybody should be able to hear.
Now, this toch,
I find this incredible.
Other CEOs in big companies do not pivot to this type of way of working with a flatter organization and sharing information across the entire team rather than keeping it siloed. This is a big change in driving innovation and going fast. And a company like Salesforce, for instance, where I've been working a year ago, doesn't have that structure. It's going to be difficult.
No, it's going to be difficult. I agree. It's actually interesting because if you look at the phrasing, it says Jensen Huang has 60 direct reports, but the word direct report infers that they directly report only to him. But from what he says, that's not even how it works, because he doesn't do that kind of thing. They are not direct reports. He is a team of 60 people that he works with personally. That's what he says. And they're all working with each other directly, all in the same team. Even the language doesn't support what he does there. And I've seen a lot of criticism online already, based or let's say not criticism, but skepticism, because in leaderships, I wrote an article on leadership when I was still at LinkedIn in 2015. And the thing is, in leadership terms, it's always considered one-on-ones are super important, right? Because you need to have that personal connection and know what people are personally doing. But the thing is that what Jensen Huang says is that he has complete transparency in his company. There are no secrets. Because people are not sitting together in rooms having their own little ideas, their own personal, things. Everything is a group effort. And funnily enough, even though Elon Musk doesn't advertise it so much, that's also how, for example, Starlink and his companies work, right? And it's a matter of efficiency.
Yeah.
Because if you have one-on-ones, you have extremely inefficient information transfer.
There you go. It's a step towards a hive mind, and the organizations with a hive mind are going to be the future, and that's yeah. So if people ask us, so what do we need to do to be innovative? Well, this is the first and the most important step. Otherwise, if you don't break down your pyramid hierarchy, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, get rid of the political games, get rid of the power structures within power structures, the personal agendas. Just force everybody to work together.
Exactly. Hey, I've got one more on the list, which is in painting from Udio. Let me show you the opening. Here we go. Let me see if I can audio there.
Oh, the music in painting.
Keeping warm, keeping true, never cold when I'm with you.
Does it do that automatically?
Yeah.
Keeping warm, feeling new, never cold when I.
Wow.
The opening tune that you had in the beginning, right? That is created with a competitor of this. They are kind of doing the same. They both have the feature now, in painting feature. Which is amazing. So if you have a piece of a song, you want a guitar solo in there, you just kind of type a prompt in there. It's just,
love it. I love it.
The way that this is evolving is also, I've never thought about even in painting in a track, right? But yeah, here we go. Here we are.
I am really curious about a few things when it comes to this. So first of all, this week I posted a post which included a video I found on how music is actually continuously becoming less diverse and more homogeneous because people listen because the algorithms give us music that we want to listen to rather than present us with new music. And so everything starts to sound more and more alike, and even the way music is being made starts to sound more and more alike because it's all driven by algorithms. So ultimately we'd go down to just like this perfect music for forever, which is kind of horrible. And then I wonder how this will play into that, because I'm already now, this is another article I read, there's lots of people already now basically making music on Suno and Udio, doing a little bit of remastering themselves, but very slightly, because they have the experience, and then putting it on Spotify and generating income by creating non-copyrighted music that then everybody can basically play, and they get played for plays. Because excuse me, if you're, I mean, older people might not be aware of this, but Twitch, for example, generates more hours of streamed, watched, viewed content than YouTube, right? And Netflix together. And all of these content creators have music in the background, and it plays all day long. And so all of these people are playing music all day long, and then people listening to it might even want to listen to the music or listen to the playlist list of these people. And this generates thousands and thousands and thousands of plays. And each time you have a play, you get a few cents. And it might not seem like a lot, but if you generate millions of plays, you generate a significant income. And 3 years ago, Alpha Gaming, which is now called Senpai Gaming, Harris Heller started doing this. He released Stream Beats. And he didn't do it with AI. He spent like a 300K, I think, on creating all these albums of copyright-free music for creators and put it on YouTube. But then when it was live, he said he was generating 40K a month just from that music. And now this is going to be supercharged, right? So what I wonder is, what will that do? On the one hand, if we're going to see this massive influx of all of this new music, but it's all going to be kind of background music. What will that do to people's music taste, to music diversity, and things like that over the next few years? It's an interesting thing.
I am afraid that it will have the same trend line as we already have. Before we had Spotify, people were selecting things from what you see in the top 40 in radio, and now you have all these pre-selected lists that people are listening to, and it takes a grave digger or a critical thinker to kind of deep a little bit below the surface to find new music, and those will kind of generate new playlists. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so we're running upon an hour close, so, and we don't want to make it too long.
Do you have a final tune?
Well, you did. No, well, I do have something. You kind of. We had new Samsung phone, and then you kind of went over it, and I only showed one thing, but I kind of want to show one other thing that I'm really enjoying, and that's since yesterday, and I wrote about it online already. But hey, Google. So, are you now the new Gemini, or what's your name?
My name, your Google Assistant. My mission, to assist you.
Fail. Okay, so what happened is that instead of my phone answering, my Google Home Assistant didn't home answer. This.
Yeah, you got too much AI assistants in the house.
Okay, so anyway, yeah. How am I going to do this? Wait.
The mic is muted.
Let's try again. Hey, Google. So are you now Gemini, Bard, or what's going on?
I am not currently barred from any platforms. In fact, on June 5th, 2024, the Gemini app was expanded to Europe, indicating continued development and growth.
Anyway, so now on Android phones, you have Gemini as the Google Assistant, or at least you can set it. So I got a pop-up to do it, and I set it. You still can use the old Google Assistant, but you can now also use the new Gemini. When you ask it if it's Gemini, it says it's Bard. So what this tells me is that maybe it's still an older model, not the newest model, but at least you have a large language model on your phone now to interact with. The app is being revamped. You can quickly take pictures, and you can do voice recording, sharing stuff.
When
so
was
far,
this released?
I got it yesterday.
So talk about timing, but it's expected that today Apple will announce that they will have OpenAI below Siri. So these guys are all at each other.
They're always. Yeah, I'm going to WWDC tonight to watch it with Auslander and everybody in Utrecht. And I was already posting stuff bashing Apple about how they're gonna try and hide the fact that they don't have AI or just introduce OpenAI as their solution tonight. So it's going to be fun. Yeah. But I think you're right.
Let's wrap this up.
Yep.
Great talk again, and see you all